Money loves speed. You have no excuse to be broke. You literally could have an idea, or someone could have a problem, and you could go and ask ChatGPT or Claude to solve that problem for you that quickly.
Hey everyone, what if the real reason you're exhausted isn't just because of your mission or trying to figure things out, but what if it's actually just this chaos that you built around your mission and your business? So if you feel that, this episode is for you. It's really for anyone that is ready to trade out that experience of burnout. As a growing entrepreneur, I know all too well what that's like, and trade that out for a business that finally supports your life. And so that's why I wanted to bring in the best of the best, Stacia Loo, who's here. She's a system integrator. She is phenomenal with SaaS. She's a SaaS consultant and looking at automations and strategy to help entrepreneurs scale their business without burnout. So let's dive in. She's got this amazing Hawaiian energy that she brings to us as well. So anytime I was like, I got to do this podcast by the pool to like match that Hawaii. Yeah. Throw that flower in, girl. So thanks so much for being here and spending some time with us.
Thanks for having me. Yes, I'm born and raised in Honolulu, Hawaii. And, depending on when you're listening to this right now, in the last 2 weeks, we've been hit with a devastating flood, or the worst that we've seen in 20 years. And luckily I'm in an area that I'm very high up and I wasn't affected at all. But with that said, I bring that up because I have systems in place in my business so that when the internet went down this past 2 weekends, I really didn't miss anything. I didn't miss a beat in my business. And when you have systems in place, you don't have to worry about a natural disaster, or maybe someone passed away and you're just not feeling it in your business. And, as entrepreneurs, if we don't show up, and then a lot of the times when we don't have systems in place, then you can't afford to not show up.
Mm-hmm. Totally. It's so real. And so I wanted to hear a little bit about like your story. Tell me about the moment maybe you realized that like hustle wasn't going to work to get you where you want. And like,
Mm-hmm.
how did you figure out and get into being the systems girl that you are?
Thanks. It's interesting. I love sharing my story of how I got started and actually I really was very lucky because the person that I mentored with also went through those trenches before. So back in 2008, I actually came across my mentor, who was a real estate developer, entrepreneur, and a friend of mine introduced me to him, and she was like, "You have the same philosophy coming from Hawaii of a giver mentality." And I came from that, just growing up here in Hawaii. That's been always my mentality, or how I was brought up, that you give selflessly and like without any agenda, and you will be blessed tenfold, right? And I basically interviewed my mentor, and I was just came from a curious heart, and he ended up hiring me. I filmed him speaking at an event, and I was just curious and posted it on Facebook when Facebook just really opened it up to the public, not just college students, and tagged him in it. And he was like, "How did you do that? I need someone to do that for me." And we realized really early on that what we're doing here right now is like your message is so important to share, more important than what you think you look like or whatever, to be able to reach more people, keep on top of mind. And so that's how I got started. Is I just already knew that that's what we needed to do. And he ended up hiring me as on a 90-day basis, and it ended up being like 7 years. And luckily enough, I was put in front of the best online marketers and entrepreneurs to help him grow, and really catapulted his business. And then in turn, other people were like, "Oh, I need your help. I need help." What I realized later, and not only till recently, that I coined the phrase, or learned the phrase, of being a systems integrator, because I didn't understand or how to really explain what I do. I just was doing it for the last 2 decades. So I started working with this multimillionaire, and luckily enough, I was able to, figure out that I was really an integrator. I was able to take the pieces of what he was doing and put it together. And later on, years now, just didn't have a really a title or position of what it was. And people just started asking me to help them with it too. So early on, I wouldn't say that I knew exactly what to do. It just I don't know, it just came to me in the fact that a lot of people who are visionaries and entrepreneurs, for a lot of you, you have these big visions but don't have someone to help you execute. And I think every
Mm-hmm.
big successful company or entrepreneurs have a back end team that has basically helped them, take it from one point to the finish line, and
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of basically how it got started.
I love it. So I want to ask you something, a vulnerable question, if you can go there with me, because I know for myself as a growing entrepreneur, a lot of the times it's been like the failures where I've learned the most and have understood like what I need to shift and change and pivot. So I'm curious if you can share a story or a time when you maybe built out a system or automation for a client that completely failed, and what did you learn from that failure, or how did that change the way that you're working now?
And actually, it's probably, yeah, it's really super vulnerable. I have to tell you a secret. I still fail every day. I, I even though that I am, people call me the goat, the greatest of all time,
Yes.
and I am certified in the software. In Go High Level. So for those of you, I
Mhm.
mean, automations. Actually, I was just on another interview earlier today, and they were talking about AI and automations and what's the difference. And there are a lot of different tools that you can use in the fact of AI and automations. I happen to be certified in a platform called Go High Level that has automations built into it, but you can create automations now with all these different language models and AI. But to answer your question about failures, I constantly fail, and that's what makes me probably one of the best, as well as one of my clients likes to call me the goat, because
Mhm.
if you do not fail, you would never know how to fix it. And so even though, like I say, some things that I should know and I forget, like the other day I forgot to put in the actual time that the automation would kick off, and I accidentally like deleted it, and then I put people through and they got the text right away instead of it going off an hour before, or the specific times that I had follow-up emails or situations. It all just went all at one time. So it's like, even though
Mhm.
sometimes I should have known better on that, or other things will come up, I constantly fail. But if we don't fail, then we won't remember or learn that, what to do next.
Yeah.
And one of them was like, get more sleep, so I wouldn't mess
100%.
that up.
Yes. Yes, yes. And I love just normalizing failures. I think that's so important on the entrepreneurial journey. And we just started doing something in my family where every Sunday we're going to take a moment to actually celebrate our failures from the week. And so we did this last Sunday, and Sammy started it out, and he said, "This was my biggest failure, and here's what I learned from it, and here's what I'm going to do different." And then we literally like did a whole cheer and like celebrated him. And then I went, and then we even had our 3-year-old son go, which was hilarious what he said. But we were like, let's just really normalize this, because that is success, is when you're willing to keep stepping up and keep rising and like showing up in the occasion of failures. So I love that you shared that. And I'm curious, like for
There's a
you,
big
when
statistics out there, that there's a huge I don't know what the numbers, because most statistics are made up, but there is a big statistic that most entrepreneurs, or the most successful ones, millionaires, billionaires out there, have the most failures, for sure.
mhm, 100%. And so it's like, are you willing to fail? Are you willing to, you know, own up to your failures too, because if you don't own up to them, then you're not going to take that as a lesson. So that's so good. And so what I would love to hear like from you, what do you see when you see someone that is maybe doesn't have an integrator or isn't using systems, and I kind of notice that sometimes entrepreneurs will get addicted to this identity of being busy,
Oh,
and it's like it really becomes their identity,
yeah.
and like they have a hard time stepping out of it. How have you maybe like walked people through that, in terms of like needing to literally shift their identity first to say, okay, like someone else come in and like help me and support me, and do that back end? Like what has to happen for that to switch?
Some people don't want to let go. You're used to doing everything. I think even to bring this up, I'm a single mom, been a single mom for a long time, on and off, and that was probably one of the biggest things of letting go, allowing someone to help me personally in my personal life too. Not only as an entrepreneur, that's hard to let go, but
Mhm.
also just a few hours ago, going back to talking about failures too. It's so funny because I just made this post that I said failures are the cost of entry. Like failures are the
Mm.
cost of entry. To answer your question, there's two types of clients. There's two, the people that come to me are like, I want you to just do it for me. I have so much anxiety, I can't take it. Like, you do it. Or there's some that are like, well, I want to know everything, but I don't want to do it, but I want to know everything.
I got to ask you, what is your perspective on AI
Mhm.
in this space? Like, especially for you as an integrator who's bringing in technology and tools. Sammy and I have been coaching and consulting on AI, and we think it's just amazing. But there's also this whole other side of things that I know we always have to address, where it's like it's disturbingly awesome, sort of. And so, I would love to just hear your perspective on what you've seen AI and its capabilities and supporting, business owners and entrepreneurs, and like really creating that scale in their business.
Oh, I love it. There is a couple of different points that I want to bring up. There's there's just so much that can be taken off your plate to make, like you said, the whole point is to be able to make your life easier. The first thing someone asked me, well, what things do you automate first? I always think about the things that you're doing
Mhm.
consistently over and over. If it's a task that you're doing repetitively, whether you are, first of all, maybe taking it and giving it to an assistant, but is there something that you can help that your assistant be able to cut back on a lot of her tasks too? Not to like get rid of her completely, but just to make your whole life and your whole
Mhm.
business more efficient. And then there's a fear of like, oh, is AI going to replace us? No, it could never replace us. AI can't replace us. Your competition can't replace you because you are you, in an individual, and you always
Mhm.
will be that person that has a unique, you know take or a unique skill of whatever your product or your service is. So it never replace you. To me, it actually helps my creativity even more so. And then
Mhm.
the other point I wanted to bring up was a lot of people are talking about just the fear of AI and all the crazy things that it can do. There was actually the internet marketing drama. I had saw
Yeah.
this copywriter who was cloned by another famous copywriter, and I'm like, one person kind of commented like, well, that person, he didn't really know what he was doing, or like, and not that he didn't know what he was doing, but he had AI, it randomly generated someone that looked like this person and their likeness. And I'm like, gosh, like, that's kind of like, it is scary, but at the same time, like, this is the price we pay. I have all my images and my likeness all out there, so I can't be mad about it because I put it out there. So, oh well. I mean, maybe he could have
Totally.
came at it at another angle and be like, dude, you need to pay me for that likeness or something. I don't know. The drama. It was kind of funny.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah. It is.
someone was trying to say that I was trying to drum up my drama. I'm like, dude, I don't have time for this. But I was just laughing.
Absolutely. I know, because there's always going to be something, and there's always going to be a dark side to anything as well. But there's there's so much good. And I wanted to ask you specifically because I know you are such a creative. And I think sometimes like people who are systems people kind of get put it in a box where like maybe you're not as creative. And for instance, I always connected to being a creative visionary, and so I actually put systems to the side and I was like, I don't need systems. That's not for me. And as I grew business, I was like, oh, okay, I need to bring systems people in. But then I had this like big unlock where I realized I can actually learn systems and still be a creative visionary. And systems will actually be the thing that creates more freedom for me to actually be more creative and be more visionary. And so I think it's just really cool when people hold both of those identities. And I see that within you,
Thank
being
you.
a creative strategist and structured, you know, catapulter.
Right. To be honest, the I'm a unicorn. You can't find anyone like me. I mean, I always talk about you, like I just finished saying, like everybody has their unique quality and skills, and AI is not going to replace you. But for me, in this context of your question here, I love that question because I don't know anybody like me that can go between those two very like. Like we all have different, we have like there's a disc assessment, right? They have the disc, or there's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
different like modalities of that. And most of the time you're really big on like one corner of the assessment. You're either a huge driver, or you're a controller type of person, or someone who's very like outgoing and or very structured. It's either, we all have a little
Yeah.
bit of each thing, but usually it's really heavy
Mm-hmm.
on one side, or the most, or the other. And I'm very big on the I and the S, surprisingly. And then
Mm-hmm.
also, you have to, in certain instances, bring out certain parts of you a little more in certain situations. But I don't know where I'm actually going with this, but basically, I mean, I thank you and appreciate the compliment on that, because I do feel like that is rare, to see someone who's
Mm-hmm.
very into the structured and the systems, but then also is a visionary as well themselves. So
Yes.
it's fun. And for me, as the part of, I guess, also to answer your question about the creative, so I went to school as, I always been a creative since I was young, and I went to school as a graphic designer at the Art Institute of Seattle. And I wanted to be a graphic designer. I wanted to create packaging and logos for people, but then I learned really early on, I'm like, this is a lot of work and it's too much. Like I and I can hire. I realized, this entrepreneur in me realized I can go and arbitrage my skills of knowing what looks good, but find people who actually could do the work better than me and faster than me and be more
Mm-hmm.
creative. And then that's kind of how I got started as well, because I was
Mm-hmm.
basically arbitraging my skills and being the person who would be the in between, and be like, oh, you need a logo? Okay, I'm gonna go get one for like $50 and then charge you, 500. And nobody would be mad about it, because they didn't had no clue on how to get it done. And that's where the integrator part came in.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you have this vision, but you didn't even know that you could go to Fiverr and find somebody for $5, or even how to direct
Yeah.
them on what the vision that you want. And so I think also the unicorn, another unicorn skill that I have, is that having an intuitiveness of what would be good for that person's brand. And so,
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of people who come to me don't have a clue of what things should look like, or what they would, what they really want. They would give me an idea of the feeling of what they want to accomplish in their business, and I would take that and turn that into something, great. And then another part of what AI has changed my life is being able to do that faster, because I did that before AI, but now we can do it faster and easier,
Yeah.
and actually have it pretend to be the best of the best marketer, the best copywriter, the best
Mm-hmm.
creative, the best person, content copywriter, or whatever. And it just makes my life like much easier. Like it's, work harder. I mean, work smarter, not harder, right?
Yeah.
And and it's
Yes.
so
Yeah.
fun, and not to mention the creative part, not only fun, but like also putting myself, especially when I first got started with really the AI part was like the images, right? So to be able to create that creativeness and then put
Mhm.
yourself in a position or put yourself in a visualization of being somewhere, and this is where manifestation like is just super super important, as I could put myself in an
Yeah.
outfit or a visualization of being on a sunset on a boat somewhere, like, and then that happens, and
Yeah.
that's how powerful our minds
Yeah.
are. And being able to have AI
Mhm.
help me put that into a vision, because I'm such a visual person too, put myself in there, without having to go find it in a magazine and cut it out, like for my vision board. Like,
Yeah.
it's a constant reminder.
Yes. So many amazing ways to be able to be using AI and being creative and then tapping into the structures. And I just want to share, like it's all the stuff in between that is why you could hire someone on Fiverr, but then tweak it and look at the branding, look at the idea, and then go share that and be that integrator for someone else. That does, that's worth more than $500, right?
Yeah.
And I know that was like way back in the day for
Right.
you, but it's just so cool, I think, for other entrepreneurs to hear about that journey and kind of read between the lines of what's possible. But like, it takes you, stepping in and using those other skill sets and that understanding of like what's going to really like land for this person and what's going to work, and building up those reps to be able to believe in yourself, to know that when you make a good decision, it's going to be good for everyone, right? And so thank you so much for sharing that story and your the way that you use AI and creativity in your systems.
I was going to mention that
Okay.
sometimes we rely on AI a lot, to confirm certain things. And I don't know, to me,
Mhm.
it's just so helpful to do that. And in this age, it's it really doesn't cost you anything to become one of the biggest brands or companies with the support of AI, which would cost
Mhm.
thousands of dollars, and which big brands and big companies have been
Yeah.
using thousands of dollars to be able to get this information. And now that as a small business owner, you
Yes.
could do this. This is crazy.
Yeah. It It really is. It's so wild. Um, so, okay, last question I have for you is, what do you believe now about life and work now in comparison to maybe 5 years ago? Like, what has changed? What has been a big aha or belief that you stand by, as a systems integrator, as a creative, using AI? What's one of these new core beliefs that's changed for you?
Oh, it's never changed for me, but it's more like what came to me when you asked me that question is money, love, speed. And now this has been even
Yes.
more of a, I would say, prevalent right now for me, is that money loves speed. So you have no excuse to be broke, because you literally could have an idea, or someone could have a problem, and you could go and ask ChatGPT or Claude to solve that
Yeah.
problem for you that quickly. And so it's never been more prevalent to me that that quote stands by true, like money loves speed, and you can get stuff done so much faster. Whereas before, I'd be like, humming and hawing on like how should I make this proposal? Give me a week before I give you this proposal.
Mhm.
Like, no, I can literally turn it around tomorrow, and we can get this done like in
Yep.
days.
Yes.
We're not waiting
Yes,
weeks or
that's so
months to
true
send you a
and so
proposal.
good.
you know?
Right? And like, hallelujah. It's so good. Um, Amazing. Well, Stacia, thanks so much for being on here and sharing all of these amazing nuggets around business and strategy and systems. It's been such a blessing. So thank you so much. I'll be putting all of your contact information and links in the show notes. So anyone that wants to connect with Stacia, go find her, let her know how this episode has blessed her, or has blessed you. Go bless Stacia. She's amazing. And thank you so much for being here with me today. Talk
Thank you
soon.
so much. Much love and aloha.
Thanks for listening to Miracle Moment. Share the episode, hit follow, and join us every Thursday for prayer and activation. For more tools to rise into your God-given mission, visit rayireland.com. See you next week.